chicken neck curry for 5 days because I couldn't get the documents to leave until the religious festival was over. Yeah, and they couldn't get any new food because all the food markets were shut. So I was eating chicken neck curry and moldy naan bread for 5 days with no AC, no hot water, no internet. And I had a spot tracker, like a emergency rescue thing. You can also program it to send like, I'm okay, but I don't have any phone service messages. So I get that out, I'm like, I'll just send a message to my family, I've pre-programmed it. Doesn't work. The thing doesn't work in the Himalayas, it doesn't, any time where you don't have phone service, this thing hasn't worked, so it's completely useless. But that's probably the sketchiest kind of week I've had, where it was just issue after issue after issue, 125 degrees Fahrenheit, so it doesn't make it any easier, and just a completely different culture. To the point where you buy a bottle of water on the side of the road, drink it, give the water back to them, like, oh, I can't see a bin around, like, do you mind disposing of this? They're like, yeah, take it, just throw it behind you into the road. Which, yeah, when you get to kind of the Middle East and Asia, you realize that us campaigning to, let's not use straws anymore, that's like a drop in the ocean. We are just screwed. But yeah, there's been a few sketchy things along the way. They tried, when I came into Mexico, which you wouldn't think would be the issue, you'd think getting into the USA from Mexico would be the issue. But because the bike's in Ducati's name, I have a legal document that says I can take it out of the country and blah, blah, blah. But it didn't say that I worked for Ducati, and they wanted it to say that I worked for Ducati. And they wouldn't let me in. It was like 6 o'clock Mexican time, 2 a.m. back in Europe. And I'm like, how am I going to get this bike across? So I get my laptop out, go back into the waiting room, and Photoshop the document. Just Photoshopped a line on the inside. I'm working for Ducati's press department. I went back to the customs officer with my laptop. I didn't have a printer, so I went back with my laptop, and I forgotten to even click into the PDF file that I'd saved and open it in like Pages, or it was still in Photoshop. And I showed it to him, and they were like, "Yep, perfect, come through." It's all stuff like that along the way. Yeah, there's been a few sketchy moments, but I've been so lucky with, I haven't had a negative human experience yet, which I'm really grateful for. I've spoken to some people along the way, or met people along the way that have messaged me a couple of days later and been like, yeah, 10 minutes later I got completely robbed and I had nothing left from what I started with, or yeah. I mean, I've been in situations where I've had a puncture that I can't repair. 4 guys have helped me lift it into the back of a pickup truck, and that person's driven me to the next town where they've been able to fix it, and that's happened more times than it should have done. But yeah, great people everywhere. A few sketchy situations, but most of the time it's your kind of preconditioning and your ignorance that gives you these preconceptions, and that makes you paranoid. Whereas I've found everyone's been great. Yeah, it's been a positive experience.
Less people really, a little more about the machine. I see that you guys can run it. Has it ever come close to where you're running out of gas in the field nowhere?
Probably like 20. Probably.
Yeah. So the main tank does between 130 and 150 miles, depending on how many free t-shirts I've been given, and how I'm riding, the altitude, and the quality of the petrol, which varies a lot. And I'm so surprised I haven't had any issues from putting petrol that I wouldn't put in any vehicle into this bike. Yeah, so I've got 130 to 150 miles in the main tank, and I've got the same volume of petrol in two spare cans. So I can do 300 miles-ish. I got stopped by a police officer in Kazakhstan, and I was running out of fuel. It was on empty, and I know I've got between 20 and 30 miles before that conks out. And he's pulled me over, speaking at me in Russian. I'm like, I don't know what the issue is. I wasn't speeding. Everyone's warned me about bribes in Kazakhstan. He just wanted to rev the bike, and he's sitting there redlining it, and I'm seeing fuel spitting out of the exhaust. And I got to the petrol, and I had a quarter of a litre, which is a quarter of a gallon. That was probably the closest I've come. The only time I've ever actually run out of petrol is in Austin, because I was riding it on the fuel light, and it got up to about 18, 19, and I've been riding it in just around the city, and I'm used to it being on a highway or a straight road where you're not using as much fuel. So I was like, oh, I've got like 5-6 miles left before I have to fill up. And I pulled up at my friend's house and I passed one petrol station. I was like, oh, stop at the next one. Yeah, dead. He had to come and top me up. But that was the only time I've actually run dry. I didn't have my spare cans filled up because I was like, I'm in America.
Yeah, Texas has gas.
Yeah,
Texas has gas.
Just stab a hole in the ground. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever been caught short. But yeah, having gas cans. I now would add a gas can onto any bike that I own. Just a little 1 gallon, half a gallon. Because it's just too much on my heart. Yeah, that fuel light comes on and you don't know the area and you're like, it could be in a mile, it could be 100 miles until the next gas station. And Kazakhstan was like 300 miles between gas stations, and you'd rock up at one at 200 miles and think, oh, this is great, and they did not have a fuel delivery that week, so you just have to keep going and hope there's another one close by. Yeah, it's an issue for sure.
You just said try and find fuel in New York City.
Same in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been tasked by somebody to do that once.
Yeah. When he got hired on as a rep, I was like, yeah, you go up a motorcycle with gas and come back.
Yeah.
See how long it's gonna take. It's gonna take you an hour.
You wonder why I haven't been back there since.
But yeah, I'm gonna be hanging around if any of you like want to chat or ask a